How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with Alex and Ryan. Obviously, last night was not fun to watch. Yankees go down 8-0 in the second inning, and they fight and claw their way back into the mix. They gave themselves a chance to win. They scored 9 runs. It was enough to win. But the bullpen once again could not get the job done. Tim Hill gives up a run, and then Devin Williams gives up 2 runs, and the Yankees offense, while they put together a Herculean effort, they could not make the full comeback. And that's kind of been just the end all for this team right now is they get close and they just can't get over the hump. And I do think that the pitching right now is a major problem. Now, obviously, the offense has been volatile, but last night sucked. It was not enjoyable to watch. We want to take a little bit more of a side quest here and talk about something more positive today, and that's one of the Yankees' top outfield prospects. And a lot of people heading into this season were very much a bit concerned about Spencer Jones and where he was going with his development. The strikeouts are still there. He still is getting punched out at quite a high clip, but the raw power is now translating. That was kind of the problem last year, was we didn't see the home runs, we didn't see the power all the time, and the strikeout rate was still high. Now, yeah, he's still striking out, but he's hitting home runs at an absolutely phenomenal pace. I think we can live with that. It's kind of the Stanton effect. He's going to strike out 30% plus, but he's going to hit 30 plus home runs a season. So, I think that's something that's worthwhile. I think that's fine. In the MLB, teams would kill to have that type of production. But when we talk about Spencer Jones, his recent numbers in AA before being promoted to AAA, and where he's just been absolutely lighting it up, just tremendous contact. He's getting closer and closer and closer to an MLB debut. But, Ryan, before we dive into it, how are you doing today, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. With where the Yankees are at the major league level, it's been frustrating. Don't get me wrong. And that will warrant its own conversations. But in the regard of Spencer Jones, look, as you mentioned, there are still the strikeout issues. That's still something that warrants conversation, but the results at this point are starting to become too loud to ignore. He received the promotion to AAA, and in his first 4 games, he already has 3 home runs. He's slashing 375, 474 with a 1,000 slug. That's a 266 weighted runs created plus. And if you look at qualified minor league hitters this season, or minor league hitters, with at least 200 plate appearances this year, he's one of the best hitters results-wise in all of minor league baseball. Again, with minimum 200 plate appearances, Spencer Jones has the top spot in terms of weighted runs created plus at 191. In terms of slugging percentage at 628, he's 4th. In overall OPS, he's 6th. So this is someone who's just mashed. He's got 19 home runs in 53 games. Last year, he hit just 17 home runs in 122 games. So while before you had the swing and miss issues and you would go, all right, that's a massive problem and it has to get better for him to be a big leaguer, at least this year we're getting it with monstrous home run numbers. This is someone who's going to threaten to hit the most home runs in minor league baseball while also having already spent time on the injured list. I mean, it's not like this is someone who's been healthy all year. He spent a good chunk of time on the IL. It's not like he missed, a couple of days, just a week. He missed a couple of weeks, and yet he is still in the top 10 in home runs. He's one of just 7 hitters with at least 19 home runs this year, and almost all of them have basically exclusively played in AAA. And while Jones is now in AAA, the AAA environment is a little bit more pitcher-friendly. And a lot of these guys, you see James Outman, he's 28. He has big league experience. He plays in the Pacific Coast League, which is even more hitter-friendly. Ryan Ward, another guy in a Dodger organization, 27 years old. Bob Seymour of the Rays, 26 years old. Shea Whitcomb of the Astros, 26 years old. The only guys who are, prospects are not, guys too old for the competition level are Lazaro Montes and Esmerel and Valdez, both of whom have 21 and 20 home runs apiece, but they've done it in 74 games. Spencer Jones has 53 games played and 19 home runs. No one has matched that level of home run production in that few games played. He's the best home run hitter in minor league baseball this year by a significant margin. So, Alex, I think this just makes you wonder, can you ignore the strikeouts for what could be 80 grade raw power? I think you might be able to. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. There's a lot of volatility here, but I'm more confident now that he's a big leaguer than I was at any point in time last year when he was striking out a lot and not really hitting for power.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if Spencer Jones strikes out at a 30% clip, but he also walks at, let's say, a 10% clip, and he's hitting 30-plus homers a year and giving you great defense in the outfield, you're looking at a guy that has a WRC plus of probably 120 plus. You know what I mean? That's extremely valuable. And Listen, the Yankees. I'll pull an example from yesterday. When you want to know what's worse than a strikeout, Ryan, a double play. And I watched Anthony Volpe become the number one player in the league with stranding runners in scoring position this year. He had 149 going to that at bat yesterday, and he rounds into a double play, killing any opportunity for the Yankees to really take the lead and build a cushion. You know what I'd rather have there? A strikeout. That's how bad a double play can be in a situation when you have momentum. Put Spencer Jones in the game right there. If he's up to bat and he strikes out, better than a double play. And best case scenario, he launches a 440-foot bomb, and you're up by 2-3 runs. So, yeah, do I care about strikeouts? Sure. But you want to know what's worse than strikeouts? Double plays and weak contact. And that is what the Yankees have right now at the bottom of their order in Anthony Volpe and DJ LeMahieu. Weak contact and double plays. So the Yankees, using Spencer Jones in the future, dealing with his strikeout rate, Giancarlo Stanton, who knows how much time he has left before they end up moving off that contract, or maybe they'll just let him play it out and he'll be a bench piece or whatever it might be. But Jones can be a starting outfielder for this team. He could be, different positions here. I just am curious how they get him into the fold. If Aaron Judge is playing in right field, Bellinger obviously going at this rate, he's playing well enough that I do think he'll opt out of his contract. What do you think happens in center field? Are you visualizing a situation where Spencer Jones is competing for a starting job next year? Or are you thinking Yankees go all out for a guy like Kyle Tucker? Where does Spencer Jones fit into the equation for you long term, especially if Stanton is still here?
Yeah, so my first thought is I think the Yankees are going to consider trading him at the trade deadline. Not because they don't like him, not because they think he stinks, but because of what you just mentioned, how does he fit into the long-term outfield plans? Now, you do have two impending free agents in your outfield, and they're their second and third most valuable outfielders according to wins above replacement, so that's going to sting if you lose both. But there's one name in the free agent market who I know is going to dominate all offseason conversations, not just, in terms of written work or whatever it may be, but on this channel as well with Kyle Tucker. We're going to talk about him ad nauseum the second the season ends. Whether it's a World Series win, whether they miss the playoffs, whether they lose in the wild card round, whether they continue to collapse and spiral and somehow finish below 500. I don't think that's going to happen, but just saying, regardless of outcome, the conversation is going to be Kyle Tucker. And I don't think Spencer Jones should stop you from acquiring a Kyle Tucker. I don't believe Spencer Jones should even stop you from re-signing Cody Bellinger or Trent Grisham if you see fit, and you believe that they're going to be good pieces for you for at least the next 3 or so years. I wouldn't let him stop me from doing that because I think they're good major league players, and you need to have good major league talent. But what I will say about Jones is that if the Yankees do believe that even with the monstrous strikeout rates, he can be a quality big leaguer, his ability to play center field defense at a pretty high level, his excellent base running abilities, they're all going to translate into a player who's going to get some time to scuffle in the big leagues. He's going to get some time to struggle. He's going to get some time to suck if he sucks for a little bit in the big leagues and strikes out 50% of the time. Those are the kinds of things that are not afforded to players who cannot play defense or cannot run the bases. But again, we have to accept that this is a very volatile player. This is a player that you're either going to say, yes, I ignore the strikeouts, this guy's a big leaguer, or he cannot play in the big leagues because he strikes out too much. It's physically impossible for him to have success in the big leagues. There are two schools of thought. I think there's credence to both arguments. He has a 54.1% or 54.1% contact rate and a 52.2% zone contact rate. Alex, I'm going to let you know right now, that won't play in the big leagues. I've never seen someone have success with that low of a zone contact rate in my life, ever. I don't know if there's any, you could say, well, Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo is not a comparable guy. I think that there are comparable aspects, but I don't believe you can truly compare those contact rates because even Joey Gallo in the minor leagues had higher contact rates than this. This is someone who does not make contact. And I'm not saying it has to get significantly better, but it has to get noticeably better. So, for example, in Joey Gallo's last true minor league season, he had a 57% contact rate in AAA. Then the year after he spent some time in AAA, 62.1% contact rate. In his big league career, his zone contact rate, and this is kind of crazy to even say, was 70.6%. Spencer Jones in AAA, small sample size, under 60%. So, we're talking about making Joey Gallo look like a good contact hitter. That is something that's not sustainable. Can it get better? I think it can. I think it can get better. I think it can get to a point where it's like 60 something percent. Again, to kind of note here, Joey Gallo's contact rates in the big leagues are better than they were in the minor leagues. So that's some food for thought. And I know Spencer Jones is older than Gallo was as a prospect, but I with any prospect, I care a little bit more about experience than age. Jones did not hit very much in college. Jones spent a lot of time as either a pitcher or on the sidelines, hurt. As if you guys don't remember or don't know, the Yankee or Spencer Jones dealt with an arm injury and missed a good chunk of his college career offensively. Didn't play very much summer league ball, and now has a lot more time in the Yankees minor league organization. But he was a developmental project. He was going to take a little bit of time. If the contact rates are good enough, he's going to hit. If they're not, which is completely possible, he will strike out 50% of the time, and he will never be a big leaguer. So it's a very wide range of outcomes here, Alex.
It absolutely is a very wide range of outcomes. So, just to kind of open this up to, I guess, the bigger question here is, do you buy the hype right now? Do you buy this hot stretch that he's on, or do you just see it as that a hot stretch that ultimately you will see some regression, and the strikeouts become more apparent and the home runs will decrease? Is this the point where you say to yourself, do you trade Spencer Jones while his value is maybe at its highest it's been in a year and a half, and not risk the potential fallout, of him quieting down, cooling down, and then the value tanking again? Last year, the value was low. This year, it's trending in the right direction. I mean, he's absolutely dominating in AAA. I know the sample size is still small. I believe, what he has a 36.8% strikeout rate, but he has a 266 WRC plus, so he's absolutely crushing it. But, the OBP is great. The walk rates are really good. Are you buying the hype, or are you selling high right now?
So where I'm at with Spencer Jones is that the Yankees need to be open to trading him. And if a trade can be made that makes the Yankees significantly better and Spencer Jones has to be part of it, you have to make that trade. You can't hang on to what he could be. You have to make that trade. If the Yankees can trade Spencer Jones and get, even a quality, like high-level relief pitcher with more than half a year of control left, I would make that trade, because this is an opportunity to try and win a World Series versus taking a gamble on what could be a very high-risk prospect. Now, you do run the risk that Jones figures it out contact-wise and, is Joey Gallo, essentially, before he became a New York Yankee. And he does it while playing center field, and he does it while playing center field defense. And I know I'm going to get a lot of comments like, if he's Joey Gallo, like, it's a failure. And again, I don't think it's fair to perfectly compare players who are not the same people and are not the exact same in a lot of regards, but again, you are comparing to like the most extreme example of a strikeout hitter having any semblance of success in the big leagues. But if Joey Gallo had a 114 WRC plus, which is weighted runs created plus from 2015 to 2021. If you want to look at OPS plus, I know some people aren't big fans of WRC plus or are like, I don't even know what that stat means. If I can't explain it, I won't use it. Joey Gallo, his OPS was around 800 with the Rangers. It was solid enough. Yeah, he had an 821 OPS from 2015 to 2021. So if Spencer Jones gives you the equivalent to a OPS that's 14% better than the league average, and he's playing center field defense, he's going to be a great big leaguer. Like, he's going to have a very successful career. He might accumulate 30 to 40 wins above replacement, maybe even more. And that would be a tough thing to miss out on, especially during the rookie arbitration years where you're not paying him anything. But what would be worse is finding out, you could have had like David Bednar for Spencer Jones, and he didn't. And then Spencer Jones never plays in the big leagues. He's Estevan Florial, and your bullpen blows some games in the playoffs and you get knocked out, right? I made the World Series example yesterday. The Yankees blew 2 games in the World Series. Alex, I don't want to blow 2 games in the World Series again. So if we get there. So I'm comfortable trading him. I'm not letting him be a guy I hang up the phone on when someone brings him up. Not even close to that.
Yeah, I think that's fair, just based on the volatility of his game, and also the fact that if he can be traded for a piece that will help us win at chip now, we will not remember that we'd moved him in the first place. Now, obviously, the flip side of that, and the more likely side of that, is that we don't win the World Series. We trade him, and then we're scratching our head because we didn't get long-term value. But the thing is, if you're going to trade Spencer Jones, it has to be for somebody that has control, at least a couple years of control, even if it's a part of a bigger deal. So, I don't think I'm willing to trade him for a rental by any means. I don't think that that's something that I'm on board with, but I am on board with considering him as a trade piece for a player that has some years of control, that maybe a team does not want to pay long term, or their arbitration money is getting more expensive. So that is something that I think is reasonable. But there's not many players in our farm system right now that I would say are untouchable. I'd say Lombard is the only one that's like on the fringe of like being untouchable, but anybody else, I think, like you said, is free, is open for business. I think that they should all be considered for the right player and the right asset. But Cam Schlittler, this is his kind of season, getting on the board and people recognizing his game. Carlos, I know you said Legrand-Hay. Is that how you pronounce his last name?
Yeah, Carlos Legrand-Hay.
Okay, so he's obviously triple-digit level fastball guy. Like, obviously, teams love that type of stuff. There's lots of potential and upside in the Yankees farm system. So we'll see kind of what they look to float. They also have MLB talent that they could use, whether it be one of their pitchers. I don't think they would try to trade Luis Seal coming off an injury, because you'd be selling low on him. But I don't think that they also view him as an asset for the rest of this season, and he's very controllable for a couple years. So they do have pieces that they can float in trade talks, but we'll get closer to late July, and I'm sure those pieces of information will start to bubble to the surface for us. But guys, always happy to hear your thoughts down below in the YouTube comment section about Spencer Jones. If you think that they should trade him, or at least consider trading him for the right player, or you think he is untouchable and should be a key component in this outfield moving forward. As always, make sure to drop a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.
Perfect.